Hello and welcome to Pretty Good Gaming. My name's Mike Williams. I'm joined by Gareth Evans.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to be talking about Mass Effect Andromeda today. We've been playing it through. We wanted to investigate the animations and the general shitness of the storytelling because that is what everybody is saying about this game on the internet, and we just wanted to see it for ourselves. So we got access through Origin Access, or the free trial. We did not get a review copy from EA or anything like that, so we're under no embargo here. The only limitation is the amount of time we've had to play with it, which is about 3 hours. We've played about 3 hours of this game so far. Everyone's heard the criticisms about Mass Effect Andromeda by now, and they are pretty spot on. This game can look hilariously bad sometimes, but it's pretty shocking. But it's very up and down. You know, there's definitely some strengths here. Like, as I said, we did actually laugh at this game a few times because it is hilarious, just in terms of various things, the writing, the animation, and everything. But we did see some positive stuff. So let's not write this game off already just based on how crap some of the animations look. So we're going to talk about that now and explain to you why there's still hope.
There is still hope for this game, and I think as soon as you play it and you get your hands on it and you have a feel of the gameplay, you will realise that this isn't just a joke game just because it looks like a joke at the moment on the internet. It's polished in a lot of ways. There are rough edges. I can't deny that. That's
definitely what it's got. It's rough edges. I mean, 1 minute, we were sat there praising the scenery, praising the gameplay, praising things that were great, the imagery of the game, and then the next minute, like bang, we're talking to one like a puppet out of Team America or something. It's so unbelievably inconsistent. Let's talk about the major kind of elephant in the room. It's the writing, the voice acting, and the animation.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yes, it's quite bad, but it can also be good too. It's Mass Effect's notorious for being able to tell a good story, and you can kind of sense that it's all coming through. Like it is Mass Effect, it's a holy Mass Effect, but there are just some very questionable voice acting, which it's like everybody read the script. All the voice actors read the script, and they had no idea in what situation the characters were in.
Very much so.
So it all sounds very disjointed. Like there's no connection emotionally between these characters. At some points, they're saying things as if it's completely in a vacuum rather than in context.
Yeah, you said it yourself when we were playing it. You can just see them stood in the booth reading these words out. They're so disconnected. Like each word is disconnected, and then the response, it just doesn't feel natural. And the characters cut off. Midway through a sentence, they're like, "Oh, but what about this?" And then they'll stop it there, as if someone's cut across them, but someone hasn't cut across them yet. There's a
couple of seconds, and then something happens. But we should point out that this is not like all the voice actors. There are some voice actors that are quite convincing, which is the father of the Ryder twins.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He was good. He was good. There was obviously what's that woman out of Game of Thrones that we
Marjorie Tyrell. Yeah,
Marjorie Tyrell as the Asari. She was good.
Yeah,
she was convincing.
She was all right. I mean, and generally the alien characters do look good as well. They're animated quite well. Yeah. I mean, all the different races, the Turians and everything so far that we've seen, and we did see basically all the favourites from from the old trilogy. We saw them all pretty much, and they all looked pretty good. Yeah. It's just some of the human characters that look hilarious. That's the problem.
Yeah. Going on to the animations, the facial animations now, they can get away with that with the aliens because we're not so sure how alien faces would move if you talk, but if you look at the human characters in this, they are laughable, and there are some lines in particular that are just laughing out loud.
I mean, let's give you some quotes here, okay? So this is what we're saying here is that it's not just bad animation. It's not as simple as that. The writing is bad in places. I mean, it's like I said, it's inconsistent. Sometimes it's great, but it is bad in places, and the actual voice acting, the delivery of those bad lines is also bad, and then the animation of those bad,
it's layers of
terrible. Okay,
shit, yeah.
So let me give you some quotes right here. Okay, this is one of my favourites. Let's start off with a strong one. The Chief's heart was broken right before it exploded. I mean, what is that?
I'm pretty sure you put more feeling into that line than the voice actor did.
I've got a career. It made if I want to be a voice actor, I need to get in touch with BioWare because anyone watching this would have a good shot, I'd say. Yeah. So also, here's another one. I prefer to eat lunch, not be lunch.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just cheese ball lines, and another classic that we spotted later on when we were looking back over the footage. No one's a pathfinder until they've path found. What is this writing? It's just it's not good. And that last one came from Addison, which is probably the worst. I mean, she's just
worst example of everything, isn't she?
Yeah, she is probably the most famous
GIF by
meme.
Now,
the most famous GIF that's emerged. She's the one who says, my face is tired.
I look like this because my face is tired. Yeah. Everything above her nose is just still dead the whole time.
Botox.
And she's talking about things that have happened, like people have died, and like there are these horrible things happening in the world, and like everything above her nose is dead.
Yeah.
And everything below her nose is janky and just disconnected.
I mean, how that gets into the final game without more polish and more time spent on it is completely beyond me. I don't understand how Addison, and she's just terrible. She's just really not a convincing character.
Can I jump in the defense of this, what they've done here? Because obviously we heard recently that there's like 1,200 voice actors.
Yeah, that's right.
So there's like more lines of dialogue in this game than all the other three combined or something like that. And you can tell that there's so much dialogue in there. You're walking down the corridor and people are chatting and humming away to each other and stuff. And there's that kind of feeling of a community around you and everything that's going on.
It's very BioWare in that sense. And it's something that I think you rightly pointed out when we were playing it. It's just the general hubbub and the general feeling of busyness.
Yeah,
it's great because there's chatter everywhere,
and the mouths are actually moving while this is happening. So all the characters have the same animation, whether you're walking down the corridor or whether you're talking to them in a cutscene. Yeah,
the inconsistency comes in that some of the main characters have been executed really well. So we both agreed that Liam was like Liam is basically the best character so far.
He's your best mate to start with, isn't he?
He's a bit of a laugh. He's the only one who's actually made us laugh by trying to make us laugh a couple of times. With actual intentional jokes that did land. He's the most realistic looking character model, and it's a good bit of voice acting and everything from the voice actor. But he stands out because he is better than everyone else. One thing that really stands out to me as well is the fact that 3 hours in, and I haven't really felt a strong sense of attachment to any of the characters so far, or I've not been blown away by any of the characters, because in Mass Effect 2, which is the pinnacle of the series if you ask me, you had Martin Sheen as the elusive man, which was awesome, right? So he was just this incredible imagery of like a sci-fi CEO smoking. He had like cybernetic eyes. He was, he had a brilliant voice actor in Martin Sheen, and he was sat in an office overlooking like a burning sun. Everything about the elusive man was amazing, right? And it was so strong. The imagery was so strong and so well executed, well directed. All the cutscenes that he was involved in and stuff, really close-up shots of his eyes and stuff. Nothing like that in
I mean, there is a defense again for me. Is that okay? You can see some of the footage on screen now. We created our own character, and I think that was the best. That's the best decision I think we made, because we made an everyday hero, Carl Pilkington lookalike. Terry, we called him. He's like your average Joe kind of person who just happens to be a hero who's going to save the human race and all these aliens in another galaxy. And I think I felt more connection with Terry than any of the other characters so far, which is good. But
aside from all this, aside from the animation and the voice acting and stuff like that, which has been pretty negative so far, that it is still a really cinematic, high fantasy kind of sci-fi adventure. It's still the Mass Effect universe, and broadly speaking, there are some great signs. There's some strong signs here of what it could be. We've only had the first few hours, and that's all anyone's been allowed to talk about so far. So we don't know how this is going to develop, and it's pretty exciting so far, isn't it?
Yeah, I like a lot of the aspects of this game, like some of the immersion. The animations are immersion breaking sometimes, but there's certain things that it does really well. Like there was a scene where we were in this spaceship and we're just milling around. I think it was like it's masking a loading screen, obviously, but the characters are milling around, they're talking, and we can see out the window like what's happening. We're passing moons, and we're going into the atmosphere of this planet, and it's just
very cinematic, very spectacular.
It's very cinematic, very, very immersive, and I like that about it. Like it made you feel like you were the character in that spaceship right then. It wasn't like a third person, you are this spaceship like trying to land on this planet. No, you are the person inside the spaceship, and it felt like that. I think that kind of struck home, and it pulled that off really well, I think.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. And then when you land on the planet as well, it's the vista that unveils, kind of before you when you first get to control the character, in earnest properly. It's amazing. It's it reminds me of Dragon Age Inquisition, which had a lot of problems, but it reminds me of that game in a lot of ways, because that game could show you some spectacular things. It was so big, like the world that you were in felt massive. It's the same here. There's like rocks floating in the sky, there's lightning bolts, there's all this alien plant life everywhere. For as an introduction to the gameplay, it was awesome. I thought it was very, very good.
And thrown into the action, like the gameplay itself, I was very impressed with how responsive all the controls were. We were playing on PC, so maybe, I don't know, it's not as responsive if you're not playing mouse and keyboard, but I felt it was very satisfying. One of the criticisms I had for the original trilogy is that I could not get on board with the gameplay and the actual combat mechanics. I just couldn't get on board with that at all. But I felt a natural instant click with this. It felt really satisfying. All right, the enemies felt a bit bullet spongy, if you like, but other than that, the moving around, how responsive it was, the overall freedom that you've got this jetpack and you've got this charge forward. It just felt really satisfying, and it does feel like I want to play this game more, like the action sequences for sure. I
definitely get that. I feel, like you said, it feels like the freedom is definitely kind of palpable. You can boost into the air, you can thrust forward, you can dodge forward. You're not stuck onto cover a lot of the time. There's no sticky cover system. Nope. You do kind of duck, crouch down automatically, but it's not the same as the last two Mass Effect games, which had you just like glued to cover most of the time. It's nothing like that. There's a lot more freedom here. Also, what is amazing to me, the most enticing thing about the game is just the general setup of it. It's got the opportunity to be a really optimistic sci-fi game where you're exploring, you're pushing boundaries in space, you're a pioneer, you're in completely uncharted territory. It doesn't have to be as apocalyptic as the old trilogy where everything was going from bad to worse constantly. It was the end of civilization, the end of the galaxy. It doesn't have to be like that, and that's enticing to me. Also, the scanner I thought was great, like the little spocking it up, scanning like everything.
Sci-fi kind of aspect,
and that's kind of an evolution of the the Assassin's Creed kind of eagle vision that is in every game. It's in Horizon, switch the focus on, and this is kind of a little bit of a spin-off from that, where you're just focusing on one thing. You're looking forward, and it just feels cool. It gives you some data about everything you scan, like enemies and whatever. It tells you what their body composition is and stuff. And if you're a nerd like I am, then you love that kind of stuff.
We kind of jumped into one of the kind of side missions before we jumped off, and it seems all very Mass Effect. If you like the original Mass Effect trilogy, like there was this guy who's been tried for murder or something, and like his wife doesn't appeal to you, like, I don't help me because my husband's been convicted of murder. Not without going into too much spoilers, I'm not going to, but it just feels like you conduct your investigation and you go to different sources. It feels all organic, it feels natural. This is how people would act if they were in this situation themselves. And then you get this mission to go and find some more evidence to find out whether this guy is guilty or not, and it feels lovely. It's like part of that storytelling tradition that Mass Effect has got, and it is really engaging. I did like that side of it. So it just gives us a glimmer of hope for this game, because so many people are ragging on this game right now, and I think that's one of the takeaways from this video is that you should not judge a book by its cover.
No matter how ugly and robotic and androidish that cover may be.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
So that's we maybe sat down to play this expecting to have a bit of a laugh. We just wanted to check out. We wanted to see what this animation thing, how the bad animations and stuff actually were in the game, and we came away with hope. We're not writing this off. Now, this isn't buy the game, it's awesome. This is don't write it off, wait for the reviews.
I wasn't a great fan of the trilogy, I will admit. The original trilogy, Mike, you were more.
I was a huge fan of Mass Effect,
but you said that you didn't have a lot of time for Andromeda because of the games that were coming out recently. You didn't have enough time, but you've said after playing it that you're excited for playing it now, and I'm the same. I want to play this more because there's more positive in this game in my playthrough that I've had so far than negative, and I can overlook the little jaggedy movements, walking animations, or the facial expressions. I can get on, I can accept that.
So a lot of people will be worried about this because BioWare, they're famous for their storytelling. That's one of the main strengths of their games going back the last 20 years. That is what they're known for, and this is a bad sign. This kind of writing and stiff animations and all that is a bad thing, because that's not what you expect from a BioWare game. But there's still plenty of things here that look strong, and the storytelling is all right. Like the side quest and stuff that we've seen, as Gaz mentioned, with the kind of murder mystery type stuff, it's classic BioWare, and it's not as bad as everyone, as the first impression is given out. And that's the mistake that EA have made. They've only let people talk about the first 5 hours, which it's difficult once you've played those first 5 hours. Everyone's just focusing on the first impression, the negative kind of niggly bits that they're annoyed with.
It makes for great articles, and it makes for people to get clicking, and that's what they want. So you can't rule out their agenda. Like people saying that everything's bad with this game. It's like they want clicks. Like everyone's expecting this game to be awesome.
No question.
But look, it's not awesome. Look at my article over here.
Yeah.
Whatever,
So there you go. Mass Effect Andromeda, not a write-off. Wait for the reviews. Wait for the full impressions to come out on Monday. The review embargo lifts on Monday, a day before the game comes out, so I believe. Wait for those reviews before deciding whether or not to buy the game. Or better yet, if you've got Origin Access, jump into the free trial, play it for yourself and see what you think of it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Mike Williams. I've been joined by Gareth Evans. We'll see you next time.